What's up, guys? Joshua Yale here. I just watched the second part of the Flash Arrow crossover. This episode was called Legends of Yesterday, and I'm going full spoilers here, so watch out. Here we go. I thought this crossover was awesome. It was way better than last year's. I thought they really, came up with a threat and a reason to have all these heroes come together and where they could only solve it with both teams together, and I thought it was great. It had really Avengers Age of Ultron vibe, right? Where they're in plain clothes and the party scene. I thought that was really nice. It was really cool to see them interact out of costume and just on just like a social level. I always love seeing superheroes kind of reference, superhero things, but they're just like you and me, but with more muscles. And then also there was like they weren't in a cabin this time, they were in a house sort of in the away from it all, but that was still a cool setting for them to go to and explore both Team Flash and Team Arrow together in that different scenario. So I thought it was really cool just to get them to do that. But this episode also gave us, Vandal Savage worth fearing, I thought, because the first, a lot of people were reasonably so not too impressed by the threat that Vandal Savage presented in the first half of the crossover. But this time he's got that staff. He knows what's up. He's on the hunt for them. And he felt like a much bigger threat and a bigger presence, and I was really into him this time, especially when he pulled the staff out. He's doing all this crazy stuff with the staff, and then they steal it from him in the end, right? And he just puts his hands up. He's just like, no, I don't, you have the staff, that's fine. I have these hands. I'm that powerful that I can just block it. No, I thought that was really cool. And he really started to creep me out by the end of it, especially seeing the flashbacks, which weren't the strongest part when you're trying to channel like ancient Egypt, and those like costumes, and no one was talking like they were from ancient Egypt, and then how do you do that? I don't know. It was a little funny. It was a little weird. Not everything was perfect about the crossover, especially I liked the Hawks in general, but I thought Hawkgirl's part was a little too rushed, because people would just come to her and like give her advice, and like especially the weird thing that Barry said to her of just like, oh, your true self will be released, and she's like, okay. And it's like, what? No, you were a normal person, now you're a warrior hawk priestess, and you're just like, okay, cool, great advice, I'll use that when I have my cool moment later on. Like, I thought it was a little rushed. Also, her costume, a little too much cleavage. I mean, come on. Let's be. If you don't think that she could like go and fight in that in real life, like don't maybe change the costume a little bit, a little more armor, maybe not. Come on. She's supposed to be fighting in that thing. But overall, I liked how they presented the Hawk story. Both Hawkman and Hawkgirl had this tragic story, that goes. They're lovers who find each other and then die through the ages. And I thought it was just a great way to tie it all together and include Vandal Savage as the one who hunts them down through the centuries and sort of puts the tragic note to their romance. So I thought that was introduced very well, because it's a very complicated thing, right? But they got it right. So that was all done as sort of a kind of a backdoor pilot for Legends of Tomorrow, which is coming out next year. And all this has me very excited for it, that they laid the groundwork in these characters and this mythology. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. And I suppose the last thing, the big thing I have to talk about is the time travel. At first I was like, time travel? Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that again. We already saw that for Flash. But then I sort of saw that was they're really doing it for Ollie this time around, because obviously he had that big thing with his son and his old flame, and he didn't tell Felicity, and which threw him off his game, and he ended up costing everybody their lives. That was crazy. So seeing everybody die, even though it was taken back, seeing everybody die with in a fiery skeleton wave of energy, that was horrifying. You can't just erase that, even though it was erased in the show. Not from my brain. No, that's messed up. You can't erase the horrible pain that of watching Felicity break up with Oliver. That was horrible. That was horrible. She killed it in this crossover, by the way. Every line had me laughing, and that scene had me crying. But it was good. It was really good. That was a great use of time travel. I say you probably shouldn't use it again for the rest of the season, or maybe even next season, because that'll become like a weird gimmick, like bringing people back to life too often. But I thought it was really cool. And I am very interested to see where both shows go from here, because even though they won the day, they both left this episode with a lot of emotional baggage, and there's some interesting plots that can spin out of this. So I thought this was a great crossover. I had a lot of fun with this, the Legends of Today and Legends of Yesterday, setting up Legends of Tomorrow. So let us know what you thought in the comments. And for all things Flash and Arrow and Legends of all ages, keep it here on IGN.